How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to our Q&A series. Today's question is, should we train until failure? Alright, so we're going to break this down quite simply, and whether this is for hypertrophy purposes or for strength adaptations, the idea behind this is whether or not we should take a particular set for a particular exercise close to technical failure, right? So if you're doing a particular movement, let's say a bicep curl, to the point where you can't do another rep, that would be training until failure. Now, there's a lot of information going around according to the literature saying that we don't necessarily have to train until failure to have these significant adaptations, but I'm going to give you a couple of insights here. So yes, according to the literature, we don't necessarily have to train to failure, but it does suggest that anywhere from 1 to 4 reps in reserve is going to be the sweet spot. 4 reps in reserve being a little bit on the lower end, so not having as much adaptation, but something like an RIR of 2 or an RPE 8, as most people would know it, would be the point at which we will get the most bang for our buck. So the most stimulus with the least amount of fatigue. Okay, in my opinion, this is a great reference point, but we do have significant increases in stimulus when we start to push above that, closer to failure, if not at failure. And if you look at a lot of the really good hypertrophy athletes out there, sometimes they'll go even beyond failure to the point of doing drop sets, to the point of doing partial reps, to the point of doing eccentric only reps, where they've got an assistance with the concentric portion of the lift, and then controlling the eccentric. So there are ways to go past failure, even doing something like myo reps, where you stop just for like 20 to 30 seconds and then continue the set, maybe bang out 1, 2, or 3 more reps. So there are ways to go beyond this. And I think, in my opinion, because we can gain more stimulus from higher levels of intensity, it's purely a matter of what are we recovering from and how can we keep pushing. Now, we can simply just add more volume, right? That's pretty much the crux of increasing workload in training and increasing stimulus. But when it comes to the intensity aspect, when we start to become quote-unquote adapted to or used to, let's say, RP8 or RP9 style of training, we can handle the fatigue that comes from that. And so now, with those adaptations, we can start pushing beyond that. So all in all, I think the RPE 7, 8, 9 is a great reference point, but eventually we do want to increase that to provide the novelty from an intensity standpoint, to eventually get just that extra bit of stimulus, even with the cost of extra fatigue, because eventually we'll also have a deload where we can drop an excessive amount of fatigue and then fully recover, go into the next phase of training. So in my opinion, yes, we do get the most bang for our buck with an RPE 7 or 8, but that's purely the starting point. Now we need to move from there to higher levels of stimulus, even at the cost of more